Typhoon season in Japan.
How exciting!
No, not really. More scary. It's a current topic in Japan because typhoon number 15 or Faxai arrived last Sunday in Tokyo in the Kanto region. And as you may all know, I live here. My original idea was to introduce a new region of Germany to you, but this typhoon affected us here for 3 days and in some areas still affects people in Chiba or Tokyo. In Facebook chat rooms, people are asking if they can help or that the convenience store run out of food or water, especially in the Chiba region. I decided then, hey, I do a video about typhoon because back in the day when I arrived in Japan in 2006, we had a typhoon warning and I was so nervous and scared about it. My husband was like, don't worry, nothing happened, you're safe. But for me, I was very nervous, so I understand why a lot of foreigners who are new to Japan are very worried about it. Japan is a country with a long history of disaster management and is usually well organized. Neighborhoods are usually so organized that at least once a year you will have a disaster management drill or evacuation drill. These evacuation centers are usually schools or sports centers which are close by. Food, water, blankets, all what you need is usually stored also close to this evacuation center. So if you're new to Japan and a typhoon is announced to your region, you might be frightened. Back in 2006, when the first typhoon arrived, which I experienced, I lived close to Yokohama Station on the 4th floor in a mansion. And this is actually a very safe place, so there is nothing to worry about it. Also, I was very worried, but however, nothing happened. Toi, toi, toi. What happened once? I ignored the warning of a typhoon because I was always so safe in my little apartment. And I went out on my bicycle and the typhoon blew me over. And this was a good reminder on how dangerous a typhoon is. If you want to take a look, there is a Beaufort chart on how strong winds are and how it is measured. You can find it down here. Since a few years, I'm living in a house on Miura Peninsula, and a typhoon can be a serious threat. We have, for example, solar panels on the roof, bicycles outside, flower pots, garden furniture, a dog house. Our dog is usually outside, and rubbish bins. Well, in this case, it's summertime. It's very hot outside and Charlie is sleeping during the hot season indoors to enjoy the air conditioning. We have a forest behind our house. We're living on a little hill, not directly at the sea. And some people got evacuation order because there were risk of flooding. Some of them started parking their cars Sunday evening on the hill, so the cars are safe. NHK, the national TV station, announced already that train service will be suspended from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next morning. So we knew already we can sleep a little bit longer. What I did, I brought everything I could carry indoors, like my bicycles, the flower pots, and of course my dog was already inside, but if he would slept outside, he also comes in. Try to tie things up which could fly away or which could break, like little trees I planted in my garden, I tied them up. A huge umbrella in the garden. My dog Charlie is very scared of high winds and thunder, so it was anyway a very stressful situation for him. Usually he sleeps in the living room during summertime, but he insisted to sleep in our bedroom. So yeah. Well, we had a nice dinner that night and went to bed, and we were woken up by the howling winds of the typhoon, and it was very, very scary. But I was curious what is going on, so I peeked out of the window, but it was basically pitch dark. Then I opened the shutter a little bit, and this is what you could see then at that time. And around 3 p.m. we had the aircon running. The power was suddenly off, a blackout. And right in that moment, someone knocked at our doors. It was like a really like a Hitchcock moment when something scary happened and we didn't open the door. It turned out it was our neighbor who was at that time in the middle of the night in this typhoon on his way to the airport because his flight was going that morning, and he knew already that he cannot take the train, so he tried to go by car. What he didn't know, and we also didn't know at that time, that also the highways were already closed because some of the trees fell. And well, we found this out then the next morning. This is another story. Next morning, after the wind came down a little bit, I was immediately out of the door, and I wanted to see what was going on outside and how it looked and all this. And this is what you could see. So this was Monday morning. Still we didn't have any power, and everybody came out of their house and started cleaning up. What was great, it was like a community who helped each other. On the second day, Tuesday, there was still no power in the morning, and the night was really exhausting. We had water. We were lucky also that because Monday we could use our solar panel, but only during the daytime, as when the sun was out, and it was super hot. You just sweat in the house, you don't move, and the sweat is running down your face, your neck. It was, I think, 30 degree or 31 degree outside. People started sitting in the car and turn on the car and use the air conditioning in the car to cool down a little bit. I couldn't sleep at all from Monday to Tuesday, and Tuesday again there was no air conditioning, and I was just outside in the garden. I let Charlie come out in the garden as well, but it was also too hot for him. Inside the house it was definitely too hot. Still, I was lucky I could use the air conditioning, so I needed a long cable and could maybe connect to the air conditioning here or the washing machine, or I could use the toilet. The toilet in Japan, also in our house, it's runs with electricity. It's not that you just flush the toilet. Also, I think maybe there is somewhere, but I don't know where. So we need to use the electricity for that. And here you can see all the cleanup. Also the rubbish side completely overwhelmed with rubbish. Yeah, I want to show you which app I'm using. I'm using JMA, Japan Meteorological Agency, which is in English, of course Japanese also, I think Chinese and Korean, Portuguese, Spanish, Bahasa Indonesia, and Vietnamese, Tagalog, and I think maybe even Arab, and yeah. So it's a very good website, and there is also an app. And as you can see, there is a little animation button down here where you can see how the weather is in the next 20 or 30 minutes. I really like this, and you can move on here to see at a later time. No? This one as well here. So this is again basically tells me where I am, and then you have Earth view, the weather, if there is a high or a low coming. I hope you learned a little bit about typhoon in Japan and where to go, where to find the best weather maps, how the disaster management is a little bit handled. Parts of Chiba still don't have electricity. Today is day 4, Thursday. And NHK announced every day that TEPCO is doing whatever they can. No? So yeah. I see you next Thursday. Bye!